Now, one of the world's richest people, Indian billionaire Gautam Adani, has been indicted on multiple counts of fraud in the United States. The criminal charges are related to his alleged role in a scheme to bribe officials in India. Prosecutors say he and other senior executives paid more than $250 million to win contracts for his renewable energy company. His Adani Group has put out a statement calling the allegations baseless. Well, joining me here in the studio is DW business reporter Stephen Beery. Hi. Take us through these charges, Steve. How big of a case is this?
Terry, I'd say it's quite big given the prominence of Adani, Gautam Adani, and the political connections, the political resonance that this has. As you mentioned, he was briefly one of the richest men in the world. He's still up there pretty far, not as high as he was. And that's falling, we should mention, as of right now, because all of his companies are actually seeing their shares, the listed ones, the shares are plummeting because of this news. The Adani Group, for those who don't know, is essentially a massive conglomerate in India that has many smaller businesses that work in everything from agriculture to infrastructure. And worldwide, people might know the company for building ports, airports, electrical supply systems in places as far as Bangladesh to Kenya to Vietnam. So he's quite active. And that's what makes this even more interesting, is that these are criminal charges coming out of the U.S. And Adani here is one of 7 who is charged. Another one who's charged is his nephew, in fact, but they're all related to this group and to one of the sub-companies. And this really, at the center of this is a massive solar panel or solar project in India that the group was trying to get underway. And it wasn't commercially viable at the rates they wanted their energy to be bought at. And so they turned to, under the allegations, they turned to bribes. They bribed their way through this to get it accepted from a state-owned energy buyer and then from individual Indian states that had to pass on those costs to customers. Now, where the U.S. comes in is that this project was touted to U.S. investors. They raised money out of the U.S. pointing to this project and saying this is going to earn a profit over 20 years of $2 billion. And so that is securities fraud. What's interesting, investigators say they have phone messages, text, emails, even PowerPoint presentations.
Wow. So it's got resonance in the U.S., but particularly in India, too. Let's listen to what Indian opposition leader Rahul Gandhi said. He's been talking about this, and he's made references to Minister Modi, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in relation to this case.
Prime Minister is protecting Mr. Adani, and the Prime Minister is involved in corruption with Mr. Adani. This has been clearly indicated.
Quite some allegations there, Steve, leveled at India's Prime Minister. What are the political implications of this case in India?
I would say they're quite serious. I mean, the opposition has used this connection for a while to really point out that there is something more nefarious going on. We do know that there is a connection. Modi has flown on private jets owned by Adani. Adani has accompanied Modi to various diplomatic visits, after which, in many cases, he would receive project contracts in some of those countries. And we also know that he received a contract to redevelop a massive slum in Mumbai recently. So opponents point out a lot of this and say you are connected to Modi, you are connected to Adani, and now that there are criminal charges against Adani, that connection is going to be pressed even further. On top of that, there are unnamed officials within India in this indictment who allegedly took bribes. There's going to be a lot of interest to find out who these figures were and to have them named. Finally, Terry, we should mention that all of those who are charged are denying their involvement in these charges.
Potentially explosive. Steve, thank you so much. Our business reporter, Steve Beery.